Thanks. This week in civics. My name is Rachel Davison Humphreys, and this week we're here to talk with you about teaching 9/11 and national tragedies. Every week, the Bill of Rights Institute, almost every week, the Bill of Rights Institute live streams what's happening in civics, history, and at BRI. And we always want to hear from you when we do this. So we'd love for you to send us your questions on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We'd love to hear what you're working on and how you're working through the important ideas in civics and history. So in teaching 9/11 and national tragedies, the reason we wanted to talk about this today is part of the civic missions of schools is to help young people process and understand public tragedies. It's the place where young people gather. It's the place where there are adults who are trained and experienced in helping them think through complex ideas. That's what we do in the classroom every day. And so when a national tragedy occurs, or in this case, the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attack and subsequent tragedy, we wanted to talk with you about how BRI supports educators in those moments. So BRI, the Bill of Rights Institute, is a teacher-first organization. We're always updating, and it seems like since 9/11, there have been a series of national tragedies that we've supported educators through. We have a couple of resources specifically about 9/11, but I think that they really encapsulate how we think about current events as it relates to historical context. So the first lesson that I wanted to share with you about 9/11 was our American Portraits lesson here. American Portraits is a series of vignettes. It's great for younger learners and older learners. And this one in particular is self-sacrifice in a firehouse on 9/11. So it has a narrative about what happened in one of the firehouses, and then a series of questions asking students to evaluate how they would respond. The other lesson we have, and we have it in actually two different forms, is we have a reflection on 9/11 that looks at how everyday life changed through New Yorker covers. And our great YouTube series, Bridge from the Past, with Mary Patterson, my colleague, she has a fantastic episode on this. We also have both an e-lesson and a full lesson in our Life, Liberty, and Pursuit of Happiness resource. So this takes a look at those New Yorker covers as pieces of contemporary art and asks you to evaluate how life changed in response to 9/11 by looking at those. And one of my favorite lessons that we have that responds is a lesson on civic values. It's built as a 9/11 lesson, but it's applicable all the time, asking students to explore characteristics of those who respond in a tragedy. And so it's called Commemorating 9/11 and America's Civic Values. All these lessons are linked below. So anytime I put a lesson idea out there, it'll be linked in this channel. So thinking on all of this and thinking on the United States as one country, one nation, one human family, we're always responding to the continuing crises in our nation. And BRI is here to help you with that. Firstly, we have our current events and e-lesson work. So every week, classroom ready current events, news articles, and our bi-weekly e-lessons. So one of my favorite e-lessons was in response to the student gun violence protests in 2019. We had a really great e-lesson that we pulled together called Too Young to Vote But Not to March, Lessons in Youth Civic Engagement. Civic engagement is something that the Bill of Rights Institute is actually focusing on this year. We're launching a new civic engagement resource for young people to have thoughtful civic engagement. And so keep an eye on that. But then we also have our historical lessons that connect the experience now to experiences in the past. One that I've been teaching across the United States this summer is actually on the space shuttle program and the Challenger disaster. So I've been teaching it all summer long, especially across Florida. When we think about teaching the 20th century and how difficult that is for most teachers. And the thing to remember is not only is the Challenger disaster a very present thing for many educators, but there are also many educators who don't remember it. And we're actually at the point now where you have educators in the classroom who don't remember 9/11. So as I've been teaching this all summer long, I wanted to share with you an excerpt of one of my favorite speeches, presidential speeches, and that's President Reagan's response to the disaster. So it's only a couple of paragraphs out of that speech, but he says, "We've grown used to wonders in this century. It's hard to dazzle us, but for 25 years, the United States space program has been doing just that. We've grown used to the idea of space, and perhaps we forget that we've only just begun. We're still pioneers. They, the members of the Challenger crew, were pioneers. I've always had great faith in and respect for our space program, and what happened today does nothing to diminish it. We don't hide our space program. We keep secrets and we don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public. That's the way freedom is, and we wouldn't change it for a minute. We'll continue our quest in space. There will be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews, and yes, more volunteers, more civilians, more teachers in space. Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue. And so as we continue on this great American experiment in self-governance, BRI is here to help you understand and teach our shared principles and history. Almost every week, I'll be here on Mondays talking through current opportunities. So go to our website, sign up, let us know where you are in the country, and we'll make sure you know what we're doing in your neck of the woods. Citizenship is hard work. The Bill of Rights Institute is here to help. I'm Rachel Davison Humphreys with BRI's This Week in Civics. Like, comment, subscribe.